I never thought I would be telling this story, let alone sharing it for the world to hear. But sometimes the secrets we bury the deepest have a way of surfacing, forcing us to confront them in ways we never imagined. It's not something I'm proud of, but it's a part of me now. And maybe, just maybe, someone out there needs to hear it. It all began on a quiet afternoon. The kind of day where the air feels heavy, like it's holding a secret of its own. My stepson, Alex, was home from college for the summer, and the house had taken on a different rhythm. There was an unspoken tension, not the bad kind, but the kind that makes your heart race for reasons you can't quite name. Alex and I had always gotten along well. He was polite, respectful, and mature beyond his years. But lately I had noticed a change. A glance held a moment too long, a brush of the hand that lingered. I told myself I was imagining things. After all, I was married to his father, James, a man I loved deeply, or at least I thought I did. That day, James was out of town on a business trip, as he often was. The house was quiet, save for the soft hum of the air conditioner and the occasional creak of the floorboards. I was folding laundry in the living room when Alex walked in, towel slung casually over his shoulder, fresh from the gym. His t-shirt clung to him, damp with sweat, and his hair was tousled in a way that made him look effortlessly attractive. I shouldn't have noticed, but I did. "Hey," he said, flashing me a smile that felt a little too knowing. "Need any help?" I shook my head, trying to focus on the task at hand. "No, I've got it. Thanks, though." He lingered for a moment, watching me. I could feel his eyes on me, and it sent a shiver down my spine. Finally, he turned and headed upstairs, leaving me alone with my thoughts. I tried to shake off the feeling, but it clung to me like a second skin. That evening, I decided to relax with a glass of wine in the bathtub, my favorite way to unwind. The water was warm, the bubbles fragrant, and for a moment, I felt the tension begin to melt away. But then I heard a knock at the door. "Mom?" Alex's voice was hesitant, almost uncertain. "Are you in there?" "Yes," I replied, startled. "What is it?" There was a pause. Never mind. Sorry to bother you." I frowned, wondering what he could possibly want. "Alex, wait. Is everything okay?" The door opened slightly, and he poked his head in, looking sheepish. "I just wanted to talk, but it can wait." I pulled the towel closer around me, suddenly aware of how vulnerable I was. "It's fine. Come in." He stepped inside, his presence filling the small space. He sat on the edge of the tub, his eyes avoiding mine. For a moment, neither of us spoke. The silence was heavy, charged. "What's on your mind?" I asked, trying to sound casual. He looked up then, his eyes meeting mine. They were filled with something I couldn't quite place, a mix of uncertainty, longing, and something darker. "I don't know how to say this," he began, his voice barely above a whisper. "But I feel like I'm losing my mind." My heart ached for him. "Alex, whatever it is, you can tell me." He hesitated, then took a deep breath. "It's just that ever since I came home, things feel different. You feel different." His words hung in the air, and I didn't know how to respond. Part of me wanted to dismiss it, to laugh it off. But another part of me, the part I didn't want to acknowledge, felt the same way. "Alex," I began, but he cut me off. "No, don't say anything. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that." He stood abruptly, his movements jerky. "Forget I said anything." Before I could stop him, he was gone, leaving me alone with the echoes of his words. I stared at the closed door, my mind racing. What was happening? How had we gotten here? Over the next few days, I tried to act normal, but the tension between us was palpable. Every glance, every word, felt loaded with unspoken meaning. I found myself avoiding him, retreating into my room whenever he was around. But no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't escape the thoughts that consumed me. And then, one evening, everything changed. James was still out of town, and Alex and I were alone in the house. I was in the kitchen, preparing dinner when he walked in. He didn't say anything, just stood there watching me. I could feel his gaze, and it made my skin tingle. "Alex, is something wrong?" I asked, turning to face him. He shook his head, his expression unreadable. "No, everything's fine." But it wasn't fine, and we both knew it. As the days turned into weeks, the tension between us grew unbearable. We danced around each other, neither of us willing to acknowledge what was happening. But the unspoken words, the stolen glances, the charged silences, they all told a story we were too afraid to admit. And then, one night, it all came to a head. The storm that had been brewing finally broke, and there was no turning back.